What's up, guys? Welcome to, I think it's episode 15 now of Immortal Minds. And we have Hazed as our special guest today. So thanks for joining us, Hazed. And firstly, just congratulations on a super sick performance last weekend.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Good to be here, man.
Yeah, and I can't wait to kind of get into some of the nitty gritty around that. And to help me do that, we have Sean and Mike as well. How you guys doing? Sean, you hit Radiant.
I did, but I'm getting dwarfed right now in accomplishments by James. I don't like the guest we chose today. I feel like I'm getting out accomplished right now, so I kind of want to go back to Paul. Is that possible to get a last second replacement of James?
Sean, look, you'll always have me beat in the looks department, so don't worry. It's fine.
Dude, you got the beard. I can't even grow a beard. Look at this. I'm scuffed.
We'll get some Rogaine or something. Yeah,
Just
that'll work, right?
How are you guys?
Sean's fucking changed. I was telling you earlier, he's playing Jet now. He's got Radiant. Like we gotta get this under control right away.
And catch me camping in the ropes with a judge.
Floating
pretty
fucking
disgusting.
midair.
I used to respect you. It's fine.
Dude, I've seen you playing Viper. Please don't talk about
Yeah.
respect.
Hello? Everyone says it's the worst character in the game, and you're using Jet Judge. How dare you? Whatever, dude.
I literally said before the game, like, I'm only buying shotguns and an AWP. I'm playing the Jet to perfection this game.
And you got 40 kills.
No, probably like 10.
Okay, I don't even know how.
Okay, I'm putting us off the rails. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I like it, especially because like you're the guy that hates Jet the most. So really, like just seeing this kind of heel turn is pretty interesting, Sean. Anyway, speaking of moving things forwards, I think we have to start some of the conversation around the Faze Invitational. Because yeah, I mean, obviously, like Hazed, I don't think a lot of people knew how the Sentinels matchup would go with you guys. You guys have been on top for a while, and this was a tournament that was super important, I think, for you guys to cement that we're still here to clap, and that's exactly what happened. Obviously, the the upper bracket final and the grand final was super close. But what are like some of the takeaways for you guys at TSM and the Invitational?
Yeah, so I think leading up to the tournament, we had played them in a smaller tournament before, and they had beaten us pretty badly. And then we played them again. I think it was the same tournament in the finals, and we had an idea of how to beat them. We were gonna try and put it into practice and see if it worked. And we took a map off them, and they still beat us, but we took a map. And so after that final, we said, okay, we have them figured out. Like we know how to beat them. It's just a matter of hitting our shots and making sure our comms are really good. And so when we went to the Faze Invitational, we were really confident, like supremely confident. We were hoping we played them first round. And when we finally got to them, I think we only dropped one match on the way there, and I think it was against Cloud9. For some reason, they're at Kryptonite. But then we finally got to play against them, and it felt rewarding knowing that like the stuff that we had talked about and practiced, particularly for their team, had worked. And I wish it wasn't so close. I wish we stomped them.
Dude,
But-
Ascent was kind of you kind of stomped them on Ascent in that first half when Dan and I were casting. You guys were playing like super aggressive towards like A main and B. You were just like pushing on Dapper at B. You were playing super aggressive on Shaz at A. That was so sick to watch because their defaults looked like they were going through the extremities and you were just taking the fight to them.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing against them is you can't be afraid of them because they're not afraid of you. They're just going to run at you. And so if you don't believe in your aim and you don't believe in your teammates' ability to trade, then you're going to lose every time. You have to play with supreme confidence when you're playing against them. It feels like, honestly, it feels like FPL or something, or like Rank S when you're playing against them. It's just nonstop fighting. It's a battle of mechanics. It's not really, there's strategy also, but less so than against other teams. It's more about just fighting.
It's like you probably call like an early round setup, and then like there's just too many variables to like have, B and C plans for like the middle of the round.
Yeah,
you're just like you're just winging it at that point.
Yeah, we don't know if Sinatra's going to have an Odin spamming something or if he's going to be flying at us. Like we just don't know. Like we're just trying to prepare for anything.
It must be like actually kind of weird to play against Sinatra. Like one of the things that I think Sean said on the broadcast, the Faze Invitational broadcast, was that the super sick thing about Sinatra is that he's kind of like S tier on 3 different agents. So it must be like when you're going into a game against Sentinels, do you have a general expectation as to what you're going to get from Sinatra, or how does that work out?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's certain maps that, I mean, obviously we study all the teams we play, but we study them the most for sure. But yeah, there's certain maps he has tendencies like any other player, and we try to target those tendencies for sure. I think on Ascent is probably the most glaring one, and he's the one. I think that's the one map that one player has stood out more than anyone on any other map on any other team. Is Ascent Sinatra has like defined how to play that Sova style on B, and so we really try to punish like his tendencies on that map for sure.
Yeah, it definitely came across that way. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
No, I was gonna say, I was like, yeah, there's not many maps where you feel like you could just guess what a player is gonna do, like at the top level, and there's just like no solution. Yeah, like there are solutions obviously to deal with like the spamming Odin, but it's very few. And I feel like I'm asking the devs to change that. I don't know how you feel about that, the B side and Ascent right now, but I feel like it's shit. I feel like the doors going up and down give too much of like a telegraph on the hits, and it makes it really difficult for attack. And then I think the fucking window that allows that Sova arrow to go through and like all the fucking shenanigans with like jets up dashing and like being able to knife through the window, or like a raise being able to satchel and like rocket through. All those things you have to worry about as just like trying to get B main control, not even the fucking bomb site. Like you're just trying to get B lobby on attack. I feel like that's a problem. How do you feel about that?
I would say I can understand that point of view. I would probably disagree, and
Mm,
just because it creates like a variety in gameplay,
yeah.
it raises the skill ceiling because it's something else you have to worry about and plan for, I guess.
But you don't
Um,
think it would still exist? I mean, Sova could still bank his arrow off of the left
mm,
wall. It's just he wouldn't be able to just sit in that probably one spot or like two spots. He would actually have to like do something. It would actually make it more difficult for Sova, but he could still do the same thing potentially.
maybe. I think he'd be able to do the same thing. He would just maybe not be able to do it solo.
Yeah.
Maybe he'd need like a cipher camera or someone just spotting the angle, and then he would spam on contact. But
Yeah.
I think ultimately it's not going to change the fact that he can just Odin spam anyone. I mean, he can just do it on a timing at the start of a round. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I, I don't think it's bad for the game that window's there and that he can do that. I
Mm.
think teams just need to learn how to counter it, honestly.
I
I
just think
mean,
there's a lot to worry about countering when you're on attack of Ascent, is what I feel like from watching both you guys and Sentinels play. Because what happens is that the other team can open and shut those doors. And it doesn't seem like a lot, right? It doesn't take a lot to break the doors, but you don't know if they're playing. It's just another guess that you have to make as an in-game leader on attack, right? Are they playing two
Mhm.
people in the site? Are they playing outside the site? How are they actually using this door? And when we actually go to B through market, we have to break the door, thus telegraphing our hit, right? It's like another thing you have to worry about. And is mid tripped? Is B tripped? Is there a recon in B? Like there's so many variables that I feel like the doors combined with the Sova thing going on at B create so much guessing for the in-game leaders on attack that I don't like it. Like I think the other maps don't have that style of guessing. I, even split so much. Like even though people like trip the ropes and like put alarm bots in the ropes and stuff like that, like weird shit like that, I still think that there's less guesswork on split than Ascent right now, from what I
Oh,
see.
I think that's the biggest difference between CS:GO and this game is that there's a lot of guessing. You just don't know a lot of the time. You're gonna make bad calls because of just like where they can. The variability in the defense is so high that you almost never guess right. Almost never.
Yeah.
So you can't just, I don't know, you just can't treat it like CS:GO where you can grab control of a certain area with some certainty because there's not going to be there's in CS:GO. There's not tripwires. There's not like these invisible things that are laying there. There's not a camera that can like see people like working mid. You know, there's just so much variability, and you kind of have to play around that. And I think that's going to be a problem for a lot of players that are switching late from CS:GO into Valorant. Is that they're not going to understand how to account for that. But yeah, and I think in this game, it's just all about taking guesses and committing to that guess. Honestly, the only time you really cancel is if like you have someone set up an alert position, has a ton of info, and I mean sometimes it's just luck. You got to play off luck, man.
Yeah, it's true, dude. There's a lot of luck. There's a lot of RNG in this game. I feel like when you're calling.
Ton of RNG.
Yeah.
As an in-game leader, dude, I can't even tell you how many times I've played. I called an entire game where I guessed wrong every single round and we still won.
I'm gonna tell you what you guessed right on though. That Omen TP on that eco on Ascent, dude. Holy fuck! When you TP'd into market, and then
Yeah.
your teammates went A or whatever. Holy shit, that was so big. I don't know if you went back and watched that VOD. Did you watch that?
Yeah, no.
That was fucking insane. That was so insane. Like your play, Drew rotates like all over the map, and it opened up the A site. I was like, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, holy shit. He didn't even like get a lot of frags or anything, but the impact that you had just by TPing in a market was so insane.
Well, you're gonna make me blush, first of all.
Well, yeah, I'm a fellow broman, you know. I had to do it to you.
Yeah, so like that was so for the Faze Invitational, I wasn't in-game leading, by the way. I'm not sure if you knew, but Sub Rosa was in-game leading for that whole tournament.
Weird flex. Okay.
But well, no, you were talking about IGL, so I was like, it wasn't me. That wasn't my call. But yeah, for that round, it was. I'm not gonna say it was lost, but like what we had planned, that was one of those rounds where we took a guess and we were wrong. What they did was not what we expected, and so everyone was leaving. I was like, let me just fake be late, and everyone places the camera in that same spot.
Yeah.
Everyone. And so I knew that they would play a Cypher on B, probably solo, and he'd just be on his camera because he can see feet from B main. So there's no way he's going to be watching that angle aggressively. So I can walk out and break it. And I know as soon as I break the camera, he has to call for a rotate. That's 100%. And the rotate will never come through market. It'll always come through spawn. And they're in their position because there's 4 alive. If there's 5 alive, he's probably market.
Yeah.
So I thought the best course of action is break the camera, smoke spawn. He's going to play behind the smoke. I teleport. Cypher's going to be backside. I can teleport market and walk to spawn and possibly kill the flanker as they hit A. And I don't think on that round I don't remember if I was able to kill the flanker or not.
I think you got one. Yeah, I think you got one.
But I just remember like I was just trying to cause chaos at B. That's all I was trying to do. And
dude, they were all over the rotate. It was insane. Before you broke that camera, they were like all over the A hit. Like I was watching the minimap, I was like, oh, this round's over, this round's over. And then you broke the cam and you TP'd. And I just watched everyone in the minimap just like shift towards B. It's like, holy shit, that literally just won the round. He didn't even he didn't even get a kill, but he just won the round.
That's the power of Omen, honestly.
Yeah.
You don't have to get kills. And some of the characters in this game, you don't need to get kills to create like a really high impact fake. You can use your abilities. And I think that's where Omen shines because of his teleport and his regenerating smokes, is you can throw a lot of fakes with him.
True. Preach. Let's love Omen. Let's also make his one less altor, please. Thank you. Don't stop.
So what do you think?
Just accept it.
So firstly, I got to say, like, I think everyone loved in the post-match interview that you threw some shade on Zoms. Sounds like rightfully deserved in some cases. So we love to see those rivalries, and that's going to be something that actually helps you guys too. This is like that was a very close series, and I feel like any edges you can get psychologically, and given that also I feel like you guys have so much experience and tenure in TAC FPS from CS and everything, I feel like you guys are going to be much better to weather that kind of stuff too. So are you looking for more psychological edges against them? This feels like the birth of an amazing rivalry given the matches we've had. Like what are you looking at or what do you project for the future of this rivalry?
I mean, if I had to make a prediction for this rivalry, it won't be much of one. I mean, we're gonna
Oh
stomp
yes.
that's what I hope. But every time we play them, it's always close. We always go like someone wins by like 1 or 2 rounds every time. So I don't know.
So what you're saying is you're gonna win by 10 next time.
I hope. I really do. I really hope we crush them. But I think it is good to have rivalries for sure. I'm not the kind of person who's ever wanted rivalries, to be honest. But they've given me plenty of reasons to be
Yeah.
rivals. And I think I've spoke on it enough
Dude.
on why I don't like them. But
Yeah, we
you
don't
know,
have to be a
I
dead
think
horse. It's all good.
yeah, most of our players have reasons to dislike them. So hopefully
Nice.
we
So the
can.
hatred runs deep. That's what we wanted to
It
hear.
runs deep.
Okay.
It runs deep. Well, I wouldn't say hatred. Okay, hold on. you know, you can dislike someone without hating them. Okay, I just dislike.
Semantics.
Does anyone on your team get mad at the teabags, by the way? Because I noticed literally round 1, the teabags were coming out in that best of 3, which is like, it's kind of rare when I watch Valorant matches and like there's just immediate bagging going on. So is anyone on the
Funny
team
you
getting
say that.
upset?
It's funny you say that. We watch back our matches, and the first round, the whole team is teabagging us.
Yeah,
And-
dude. It's
And Drone goes, I didn't realize that they were doing that. Were they doing that the whole game? And I'm like, yeah, they were teabagging the whole game, homie. And then some choice words were said. But like during the match itself, we don't notice, honestly. I mean, like I noticed it maybe once every like 5 or 6 rounds, but like every round, no, we don't notice because as soon as the round's over, we're talking about the next round or like what we did wrong and what we should fix. So
Gotcha.
it's a disrespectful.
That is amazing. So what's like moving things forwards a little bit, because we have so many different points that we want to catch your thoughts on. What are your current thoughts on the state of the game for professional play? So you can go take that any way you want.
Do you think the game is more catered towards like casuals? Like, how do you think Riot is approaching it? And like, do you think they need to change shit?
That's a tough question. I don't think it's well, okay, so maybe with like certain characters, it's catered a little bit towards the casual play because like I don't think Raze should do as much damage with all of her abilities as she does. I don't think she should. I don't think there should be a character where every ability can kill someone. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Maybe a little overboard, and that feels like a character that's kind of catered towards the casual play. But I think balance-wise, they've kind of showed that they're willing to make it a more competitive game because they are currently nerfing Raze and a bunch of her abilities damage-wise, which is good. But I don't know. They've definitely gotten a lot of input from competitive players. That's for sure. I mean, I know I've been asked questions on what I think about the game, and I know a bunch of the other pro players have as well. So they've definitely shown interest. I think strategically the game is, I mean, it's complicated. I think that's the best word to put.
It's definitely deep strategically.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of shit going on.
It's much harder in this game to develop a meta than like a game like CS:GO, where like the maps have kind of been figured out for a long time, and then the only thing that changes are very like small tweaks to I wouldn't even say overall strategies, but more to like little tactics in the rounds. And there's not like really big changes meta wise. Whereas in this game, patch to patch, you're going to see massive changes because the comps are going to be different. So there's different abilities on the maps. And even within the same meta, you're going to have, wildly different strategies from team to team. So I think competitively, the game is very strong. I think the player base competitively needs to grow a little bit. But I think Riot's making a lot of good steps, honestly.
So I'm curious about this. I never really thought about it. So on a team, since Riot's so active with nerfing and buffing agents, 6 new agents a year is what they said, and like the new maps and all that stuff, you guys could all potentially lose your agent. Like at
Mhm.
any moment, Jet could be nerfed, and Wardell should probably switch to someone else. Or at any moment, there could be like a new healer. I mean, you guys don't really run Sage very much, but there could be like a new healer, and whoever was on Sage would have to move off of her. You know, if Breach gets buffed, you probably want him in your lineup because he's now OP as fuck if he gets buffed.
Mhm.
Like, what are the thoughts on that? Like, are you guys constantly like willing to just switch off of your agents? Because some of your players, like, I can clearly see they like 1 or 2 agents.
Yeah. So what you see in matches isn't how it is in scrims. I can tell you that much.
Okay.
In scrim, we are scrimming with pretty much every agent. Um, so I think I'd say every player on the team right now plays like 3, maybe 4 agents. Some obviously we don't scrim that much. Like for example, for myself, I don't play a lot of Viper in scrims, but if
God
we
damn
do
it.
run
That was my
Viper,
next question. You son of a bitch. You're not even playing her in scrims. I hate you.
no, I do, but we don't play her much.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
trust me, I'm campaigning for Viper. I am. Oh my
Yeah.
god, you don't understand. I feel like a politician running for Viper. Like I'm trying so hard to play this character in tournaments, and I just can't get it. I just can't. But yeah, I mean, we definitely in tournaments we have characters that we're like, okay, this character is tournament ready within this comp, and so we can play. Um, but there are certain that we feel as though isn't ready for tournament play, but we are preparing for the future for sure. Because I don't know what you guys think, and I would actually like to know your thoughts. But I feel like this game is going to have a pick ban process eventually. With
I was
Yeah.
going to
more,
ask you about that, like what because it does it like a drafting system will come in, like you're saying, like a pick ban type of thing. You get a pool and you can. Do you think that's going to make things more insane and harder to manage as a team, or do you think that would actually make things better because you'll be able to, like the teams that do the more work and have players on their teams that can play more agents and more flexibility, more bigger playbook and better adaptability will be able to perform better. In one sense, that's a rewards higher skill for the team overall, and the more intelligent teams as well. It rewards them. But is that? Do you think that makes sense?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think every team should like the way I envision this game moving forward when there's a lot of agents is that every map a team needs to practice set comps and like maybe like 2 to 3, and they need to have strategies for every single comp, both like early game and mid round and late round, executes, pushes, etc. But they need to be set comps and multiple versions of set comps, so that when you go into uh, a tournament match, and let's just say that there is a pick ban. I hope there is, by the way.
Hmm.
Then if someone bans a certain champion or sorry agent, talking like it's League of Legends, then you would you'd be like, okay, we can maybe make this lineup then, and depending on how many agents are allowed to be banned, I think probably for the foreseeable future, 1 agent ban would probably be all you can manage because there's just not enough agents. But if you have you have a lineup, say, that has center out Viper executes, for my example, then maybe we go into it planning to play Viper, but they banned Viper, and so we're like, okay, backup plan, we're going to play this comp instead. So you still have a game plan. It's not what you wanted to do, but you have like the set comp that you already know has these executes and these goals, and it plays completely different than the comp you were going to play. And I think
Yeah.
that's going to be like the evolution of this game, because I don't know if y'all follow Rainbow Six. I don't, but I feel like Rainbow Six might have something similar because they have agents and like comps.
Yeah, I feel like there's like a couple ways they could go about it. One is the pick ban way. One is making it clearly visible, like just pick, 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 like going from team to team so that we can kind of counter pick the other team. So it's not really like a pick ban. It's more like you can see what the other team is choosing one by one and you just ladder through it. The other way would be the devs saying, okay, you have to choose only one Sentinel, you have to choose like one duelist, and they like set hard limits on, like which type of category you can choose to make your composition from, right? That's another way to like reduce the variance once you start hitting above like 30 agents. Because if they just allow you to just pick whatever agent you want when there's like 20
Yeah.
agents, pro teams are just gonna be so random. Like anyone can be anyone at that point because you just can't prepare for all that nonsense. There's so much shit going on with 20 agents, So I want to see something, but I I don't know like what the solution is because I'm not also too big of a fan of the whole pick ban thing. I mean, you're a
Okay.
fan of that because then you could play a team, that like might ban all the Sentinels and like the game just will feel like a total
Yeah.
shit show.
Well, that's actually what I was just thinking. Was that like when you said picking, it's gonna make it to where you pick an agent from each like category, so like a sentinel, a duelist, etc. I like that idea because if you did a pick ban process and there's like say 30 agents, you could draft theoretically the most toxic team ever of five sentinels.
Fuck
So
that.
like right now, just imagine right now you're playing against Killjoy, Cypher, and Sage. Just those
And
three.
Sova, just
And
like shooting
Sova.
arrows to let you let his teammate rotate around.
How do you
Fuck
get
that
rounds
comp.
on CT side or on defense? Like I feel like it's so hard. And imagine there's 5 characters like that. It's just so toxic. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I like your idea. I think that I never thought of it that way.
No, so like what Morello was saying was like, yeah, I don't think a 3 Sentinel comp will be a thing because it becomes very hard to get rounds on attack. And my whole point of view is that it doesn't matter. That changes the whole playstyle of the game, right? You go
Mhm.
from wanting like 5 rounds on attack to now like, okay, we only need 2 rounds. Because if we're running this comp with like Sage, Cypher, Sova, Killjoy, and it doesn't even matter to the 5th, right? It doesn't even matter. We're gonna lock down a fuck ton of defensive rounds. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna get a lot. So the whole style of the game changes. You can't just say like, it's gonna they're gonna have a hard time on attack. Of course they are. They might approach attack very differently though. They might just take dry fights and just pray to God they win 4 rounds. And it
Exactly.
could happen the majority of the time. It's not like there's a 0% chance of winning a gunfight. Like they
Yeah.
could still luck box into some attack rounds.
No, absolutely. You can set up full executes with a heavy sentinel team that
Yeah.
is really hard to stop.
Yeah.
Even if you have like a well-rounded comp on defense, it's gonna be hard to stop a full execute from like Killjoy mollies, Sage slows, Sova dart.
A Cypher
Like,
cam coming in to like tag you
yeah,
like during a fucking exit. Like what are you gonna do to that? You're just gonna keep the dart in you?
you can definitely, dude. Even with the heavy sentinel attack, you can get probably 7, 8, maybe even 9 rounds if you
Yeah.
get lucky kills and you have good executes and you break their money. Then it's definitely possible. So I would disagree with Morello. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think a 3 Sentinel comp could very well be a real thing
Yeah,
if they
I
allow
think so
it.
too.
And
I think so too.
Sliggy talked about it like last week too, where on attacking side with that type of Sentinel setup, you're not focusing so much on like broad map control or like controlling or countering certain areas. You're focusing on like, okay, we have Killjoy, so we're just gonna keep getting her this orb every round. So then when we want to actually do an exec, okay, we'll drop her ult and then we'll have planned out stuff for that. It just changes the pace like way too much.
Yeah, and Killjoy ult, by the way, I don't know. I would like to hear y'all's opinion on it, but I think it is actually below average.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I don't think
definitely.
it's that good.
We were talking about like the placement of it because it's very like risk reward. Yeah, you can place it like really far up, but then there's a chance of breaking it because first people would just you place that ult and they all just run away and leave the area. But now you're seeing people taking the chance of like, okay, if I stay in the site, they're gonna be less likely to clear this area because of that fact. They think, oh, I just ran out and abandoned the site. So either that or you need really good retakes.
No, it's gonna get annoying though when there's a team, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen probably literally the next tournament when there's a Killjoy and like a Brimstone or some shit, and the Killjoy ult happens, and obviously there's like one quadrant of the map that people get filtered into because they won't get hit by the Killjoy ult. So example would be like long A on Haven. That like left corner seems to be avoided by a lot of the Killjoy ults on short. And so people filter there to not get hit by the Killjoy ult. Well, what's going to happen is when there's like 3 seconds left of the Killjoy ult, a Brim ult is going to hit that spot and just absolutely fuck a team. Like it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to be super annoying. Like that's not fun. That's not fun at all. Either you get Killjoy ult or you get Brim ulted. There's no winning. Like once the synergizing happens with Killjoy and that ult, it's going to be a nightmare. Because you can filter people to spots.
What you could do is if you're like a 500 IQ Killjoy, is you could put a molly in that corner.
Oh my god! Why are you giving these motherfuckers ideas in my ranked
I was just about to say that.
I'm gonna be shooting the ground just like Odin spraying the grounds.
Yeah.
Because you can hide that little molly in like someone like
Anything,
Bind.
yeah.
So many stupid
The
spots,
tank on
man.
Bind, you can like tuck it in between the wheels, so you can hear it, but you can't see it. There's no way to kill it. It's
in
so
hookah
annoying.
too, you can literally hide it in like little pillows. You can just hide it in a fucking pillow in hookah.
Dude, they're like termites, man. They just nest into places.
I hate that ability. It's so good.
So bad.
They got to fix that, right? Because I've been playing quite a lot, and it's just like there's so many times just like impossible to just and you are just it looks so dumb. You're just like actually just spraying the like there's a clutch 1v1 clutch. You just start spraying the ground in random places. It's like what is this? Yeah, they got to fix that.
That's the most annoying character. I hate Killjoy more than I hate Cypher. That's a fact.
Yeah, that's pretty annoying.
Wow.
Man.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, maybe we should move on to the next topic. With that said, so one thing I wanted to get your thoughts on, and maybe we can talk about it a little bit, is obviously 100 Thieves sort of exploded, but they're looking to rebuild the project. Made a lot of sense that they picked up Nitro, super experienced CS player, has played at the most elite level for many, many years. One of the best North American teams for a very long time. So amazing, going into building a new team. That seems like a good candidate to help you do that. But the question I think for me and a lot of people is like, who do you put with Nitro? Because I actually thought that when I was hearing that Nitro might be going to Valorant, I was thinking, oh well, maybe like if T1 needed a new player, Nitro could probably slot in there fairly well with a bunch of CS players that he knows and so on. But he's got a pretty hefty job on his hands to rebuild this lineup by himself. So what do we think about this?
Oh, I was surprised. The path that 100 Thieves went down. I mean, I like all those guys. I thought for sure that they were going to keep Venerated because he's been performing really well. So that was a shock to me. I'm guessing one of y'all had mentioned that probably they're like friends, and so it was like all or nothing type thing. That's probably the scenario, but I don't know who the hell they're going to get. I mean, I have some players in mind that I would probably recruit, but I don't know if they believe in the players the way I do. So it's hard to say that. I mean, unless they poach players, but I mean they could, but I don't know who the hell they're going to get, honestly.
Oh shit! Just announced they picked up Wardell and Drone. Just live on this cast, they just picked up Wardell and Drone. Can you believe it, boys and girls?
Retired, boys. I'm retired again. All right. I don't know, dude. Do y'all have any ideas on who the hell they're gonna get? Because I don't.
Dude, I feel like they have to start bringing in like the CS players or something. I don't know, because it's clear right now. I don't know how you feel about this, scrimming and obviously playing all these top teams, but the people from the other games, they have ridiculous skill. Like these Faze guys, their aim is insane. Probably the best I've seen in the game so far. Same thing goes with like Sinatra. But when it comes to like clutch situations, like 2-on-2s and like understanding rotations and trading and spacing and working with your teammates slowly and methodically and using like map control and running defaults, I feel like CS players are like miles ahead. And that's part of the reason why you guys are winning a lot right now and why Sentinels are winning a lot right now, is because you have the CS players with the most experience. Like, how do you feel about that? And like, how do you think 100 Thieves should approach their roster, knowing that, if you believe that?
I mean, I would obviously choose Counter-Strike players if they were the option. I'm sure they're branching out to like their friends that are on the fence about switching to CS:GO, and so
Yeah.
maybe something is in the works. But I could see them. Well, here's the thing. I think like I said, they should have gotten Venerated because he's one of those guys that's not a CS player. I think they came from PUBG, but he's really talented mechanically. And he doesn't. I mean, I don't know. Like you have clutch players with like a lot of experience, like Hiko, for example. He's known for clutching. So I feel like he'd been an amazing player to have just for fragging. And I would probably look at Overwatch players because those guys, I mean, just to play high level Overwatch, mechanically you have to
Yeah.
be good. You just have
Yeah,
to.
they're insane. They're so fucking insane when I watch them. It's
They
unbelievable.
look like they're chewing up Adderall tablets or something. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy how cracked they are when they
They're
play.
so fucking insane watching them play.
But you're right in that. I mean, clutch wise and like understanding spacing and when to be aggressive and not to be aggressive is something they lack heavily. I remember in the beta when we played against Sinatra, because we were doing like 4Qs versus 4Qs, 5Q versus 5Q. Every time we'd play them on bind, this dude was playing Phoenix and he would suicide out instantly out of hookah.
Yeah, of course, dude.
Round.
The standard Phoenix play, man.
Every round. And we'd kill it. We killed him, I swear to God, 12 rounds in a row. And we're like, when is he going to learn that this is not a good idea? And, that's like the thing. It's like a CS player would know. They would know. They wouldn't have to do it once to know it's a bad idea. But they would have something planned around it maybe. And then if it didn't work, they would be like, okay, let's not do this. Let's shelve it and try it maybe after we show aggression elsewhere and then they're not watching anymore or something. You try something. You wouldn't just keep doing it every round. And a lot of these Overwatch players just do it every round. You're like, what are you doing? I don't understand. They just have so much confidence in their abilities. I don't know. I think it's good to have that kind of like that confidence in yourself that you can just do the same play every round, and in your mind you're like, it's gonna work because I'm the greatest.
This is
like
the round.
I respect that confidence, but at some point you gotta play with your team, man.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I think they should look at the other scenes for sure, because like we said, there's not a lot of tier 1 talent from Counter-Strike that's switching over right now.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely have to mix. They have to mix scenes. If they go all like CS conversions that are just like fresh to the game, like Nitro is still very fresh to this game. He has a lot to learn. He has to get killed by a lot of tricks. Every agent has like a dozen tricks that they kill you with before you learn.
Well, there's definitely some FPL players that are looking to switch over, and like semi-pro or former pro players that are looking to switch over. So, I mean, yeah, a lot of people don't call them like tier 1 talents, but I mean, they're obviously very skilled players. You can't make it to that level in Counter-Strike without being good. So,
yeah,
there's definitely options. I think it's going to be more of, are they willing to, one, take the risk, and two, can they convince them to switch? I think that's what's important.
Well, with that said, I want to get your really quick thoughts on the operator because I want to move on to more stuff around the Faze Invitational, but very quickly because this has come up so many times, and I feel like we talk about it every week because it's always in the consciousness. People think the operator is too good. What do you think is do you think that, and what do you think needs to change, or should it change?
I think the problem is in two parts. One, I think Jet is a problem. I don't think it's just the op. I think Jet is an issue.
Jet is the problem.
But
I like where this is going.
But second, I think a big issue with opping is that you can be like almost hyper aggressive and be unpunished a lot of the times because you don't have 5 HEs or 5 Molotovs. So what they can do is they can take these aggressive angles and be virtually safe on these angles because when they hide behind the box, you can't just like chunk a bunch of utility at them and kill them. A majority of the time, he's just gonna that player is gonna be fine, and especially if he's Jet, because then he can go behind the box, he can kill someone, repeak off of a flash, or just repeak in general, get the kill, dash away. and there's no counterplay to that. So I think it's less about the op and more about the lack of utility and how strong Jet's utility is. Because you don't even need to have dash. You can just smoke yourself out of places too. So there's just like the player has so many options to get away. I think
Right.
So do you think the Jet buff needs to be reverted? The one from like beta where they increase her smokes from what, like 3 to 7 seconds? Like something insane like that? What do you think about her smokes? The fact that they could just like stick to walls and create like one ways. I noticed 10s like uses that a lot. It's so annoying.
Dude, Matt or Wardell is incredible at creating one ways with those. Dude,
Yeah.
it is so crazy. I think they need to drop it down to like by 1 second. I like that her smokes are longer than 4 seconds because I thought that was way too short personally.
Yeah, they were really quick before. They were just like enough for her to get away from like a crazy scenario before. Now they're like legit smokes.
Yeah, they're legit smokes, and maybe like down to 6 seconds or 5 seconds. I don't know. I think her dash needs to be nerfed.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
how.
agree.
Her dash is just dumb.
Do you think if there's like a delay to it somehow that would try to fix it? Because I agree. Like, if you do the same peaks with the op with any other agent, it's just like a dumb peak. But her dash just negates any of that. So I don't know if it's like a delay or the distance or the speed of it. I don't know what it would be, but
I would say the distance probably needs to be nerfed a little bit. Like I said, I don't know if it's one thing in particular in Jet's kit that needs to be hit. But something in Jet's kit needs to be hit. I would probably go with the dash, maybe lower the smoke time a little bit. I think the updraft is fine.
Dude, what do you think about her ult? What do you
God.
think about it? Go ahead. Tell me what you think about it. I'm curious. Let's go. Tell me what you think about it.
Yeah, so I remember day one of playing this game in beta, I said Jet has the dumbest ults in the game. And I remember all my friends were like, "You're so dumb. You are so dumb. That ult is trash." And I'm like, "You don't understand how toxic this is going to be in the hands of some cracked kid." Okay.
Yeah. Just perfect hit scan. You can't have good crosshair placement because they're somewhere in the sky. You don't know where to put your crosshair. Yeah. They know exactly where to put theirs. It's so BS. And you kill an ulted Jet. She gets res. She gets her ult back.
That is so dumb.
Like,
that is so dumb.
You already have the best ult. Oh. Why do you get it back?
Yeah, I don't like it. I think it's broken. Like so here's actually we've talked about this practice because I've vented about her ult a few times.
After Matt gets ace after ace after ace.
Dude, this dude has 1v5'd in scrims. It is with this ult. It is so dumb. Oh. I think her ult headshot should have the same properties as the sheriff. So it should do 145 at range.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
I like that.
It gives you the opportunity to be able to shoot back, maybe only briefly.
Yeah.
Get the opportunity at least.
I like that actually a lot. Because right now when I hear "watch this," I'm just like, I'm fucking out. I'm finding out where this motherfucker is. I'm going the other way.
I'm out. I'm hiding in a corner. Like,
yeah.
Y'all can deal with it. I'm not dealing with that ult. Because you can't counterplay a Jet dashing, updrafting, and shotgunning you.
Yeah, it's impossible.
How do you hold? You just, I don't know. It's so dumb.
I think with her right click on her ult too, like people just spam that shit all the time and just get kills like that. I wonder if they could change it so maybe like you can only right click so many times with it, and then like after a certain amount of right clicks it doesn't refill. Because I feel like
only reset on headshot. Yeah. What about that? So like a right click doesn't reset it.
That'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Because so many of these Jets are just so like garbage with just the single clicks because they have trash aim, and then they'll just right click you and it doesn't even matter, and then they just get it all back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the ult's powerful. I think it's got a wide skill gap between like on a bad player that ult is terrible. It is like arguably the worst ult in my opinion because if you can't aim, you can't. Yeah. but in the hands of like Tens and Matt and who's another cracked jet, like I don't.
Like
There's
Rob
just
Wiz, dude. That
yeah,
man, that
Rob.
man literally does not give a fuck
No,
about
he's
tactics. This motherfucker.
oh my god, I love watching Rob Wiz for the record. Oh my god, we were watching.
It's so exciting.
We were watching one of his matches. I think he was playing Cloud9 in some tournament. On pistol round, we scrimmed him, so we knew what he was all about. And we're like, all right, everyone, watch Rob. Watch Rob. Jet dashes in with a shorty up traps on pistol round and kills 2 people. We're just clapping. We're like, that's it. That's it right there, baby. That's the Rob Wiz. We've never been happier in our lives, dude. No,
Dude,
fuck
it's
that.
so insane. It's so insane watching the shorty on pistol rounds, man. I get so excited when I see a jet by a shorty on pistol round because I hate it so much that I just know if she gets a kill, the other team's just immediately tilted. It's
Yeah, you
so
need to see
annoying.
others suffer the way you have suffered.
How do you feel about the shorty while we're complaining about everything?
I mean, I think it's in an okay spot.
Damn, dude, every pro player seems like they're okay with the shorty. I don't like this, damn.
Yeah, that's not the answer you wanted to hear, right?
Yeah, I don't like this. All right, next topic. What's the next topic?
I get it. I hate dying to a shorty too. Trust me. Nothing tilts me more than dying to shotguns, but I think it's easily counterable in that if you think they might have a shorty on this round,
yeah,
there are ways to play around it. There's some maps where it's very hard to play around shorties, like Bind.
like you're just like, we're not gonna go U-Haul this round, guys.
Well, you just can't really go anywhere. It's
we're not gonna
everywhere's
go
a choke
hookah.
point.
We're not gonna go U-Haul, and we're not gonna go shower. All right, let's go.
Yeah. So there are cases where you're like, well, shit, maybe it is a little too strong. But I think the damage fall off range is pretty intense. I mean, you really have to be close to die to a shorty.
unless you're a jet.
Unless
Shorty
you're
buff. The shorty buff, of course.
yes. But I think just because it's overpowered in a sense on one character, but trash on almost every other character I don't think it needs to be nerfed. I think that's just the character itself. Like I said, I think dash is the issue.
Just make it $500 on Jet, solved.
Or just not buyable. I mean,
Yeah.
how about that?
Game.
Right. Well, I know we already talked a little bit about the Faze Invitational, but I wanted to kind of really kind of wrap it up nicely. So there's a lot of takeaways, I think, and so I think some of the good things is that I noticed is that we have a lot of potential in the core of top North American teams. It feels like when I was watching Gen G and Immortals and MV and Cloud9 and so on, obviously I think there is quite a gap between some of those teams and TSM and Sentinels, but it feels like it's quite solvable for all those teams when you watch them. It feels like they're not too far away. So it feels like we have already a very rapidly growing, a pretty strong top tier in North America. Like, what's your take on that, Hayes? Given that you've played against all these teams.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned Gen G, for example. They're a team that early on, I think they had probably of all the teams in North America, the best like execute style. Their sight hits were really hard to stop. They were well thought out. Their timings were really strong. But I think an issue with NA in general has always been evolving with the meta. And I think Gen G is an example of a team that's maybe fallen behind a little bit. They've kind of settled into that execute style, and then teams learned, how to beat that, and then they're not evolving. And I think that's an issue. I think a lot of teams just need to evolve. I think skill-wise, these guys are all there. I'm not gonna sit here and act like our team is just like outskilling everyone. That's just not the case. We just are constantly trying to evolve, and these teams need to do the same thing. But I think skill-wise, everyone's there. I think NA is really strong mechanically. They just strategically they're starting to fall behind a little bit.
That's kind of what I said about this game is like it feels like you can never let your foot off the gas in this game. It's a little bit different than CS. I feel like you could run almost the same meta for like a long time in CS. You can keep doing kind of similar shit and like slight tweaks, but in this game I feel like you're gonna get anti-stratted really quick because you have 5 different agents, and it's just so easy to counter strat because every ability is unique, right? So like when you see a Cypher cage somewhere, you know a Cypher is there, and when you see a Brimsmoke somewhere, you know the general range that a Brimstone has to be in to throw that smoke. And it's like everything is kind of readable in this game. Like you can have a very good idea of what's going on based on the type of ability you see. So because of that, you have to constantly keep evolving what you're doing and changing the look. Is
Yeah.
that difficult?
I mean, yeah, it's incredibly difficult. I mean, I think like you were saying, because every character is unique, you kind of understand where they're at on the map, and good teams are always trying to use that information against you. And so, they're, for example, like throwing a brimstone smoke or a molly from somewhere you wouldn't think that they can throw it from. So you think they're on the wrong side of the map, and then
Yeah, like short A on Haven when you guys do that for B and stuff.
what are you talking about?
I don't know who said that.
Who said that, dude? What are you talking
Cut
about?
it, cut it out. The volume.
Cut it out. But yeah, like being able to fake abilities and or fake presence with abilities on maps is really strong. And so yeah, I think being able to understand that, and then always change your style of play is very difficult. And see, I think that's why in this game it's less about mechanics, and that's why I think a lot of players that are strong mechanically are not necessarily winning. It's that they're not understanding the strategy. Because in this game, I think of it a lot like League of Legends, and that every game there's a different comp. It doesn't have to be that way, but a lot of times it is. And understanding the strengths and weaknesses of the team's comp itself instead of the players is what's going to win you games, because you understand the limits of that comp, and then you can make strategical reads based off of what you see, what you hear, and what your teammates are saying, and that's going to give you the edge. Obviously, at the end of the day, you still have to hit your shots, but you can get a leg up strategically, and that's going to win you games more often than not, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's got to be a nightmare to kind of like juggle everything. I can't imagine like the difference between CS and Valorant in terms of like trying to innovate and also trying to like mix things up. And at what point does it just get confusing because the playbooks are going to get so expansive, I feel like, and like recycling old stuff. I wonder like how
Yep.
useful that's going to be in the future.
To say, I got a little notepad here where we write down everything, and it's going fast.
Nice.
We forget stuff, so yeah, I totally understand that.
Speaking of forgetting stuff, have you forgotten what it's like to play on LAN? Because fuck, we've been online for so long now. Like, how is that in Valorant? Because like, obviously, no one's experienced LAN Valorant really yet with the pro
Yeah.
teams, and I know from this tournament, one of the most interesting things was how compelling the games were. We had a lot of technical challenges, and because it's just early, it's early days. But one of those for you guys is playing online. So, what kind of impact do you think that is having on the pro play right now for you guys?
Honestly, I don't really have an answer. Like, it's weird not being able to play lands. I mean, I know, like, I think for all of us here, we much prefer land. That's like the proving grounds of teams, is you go to lands, and no one can go to lands right now because of COVID, and so it feels weird. Like, I I don't know how good some of these teams. I don't know how good our team's going to be on land. I feel like we'll be good, but because we have a lot of experience at land, but it's just weird, like having to play only online, and I feel like people are so confident.
Yeah, honestly, like I feel like you guys are gonna be one of the teams that benefit a lot from playing on LAN. I think that a lot of these newer teams are gonna suffer really, really hard when it comes to LAN. I think T1 is a team that'll actually benefit a lot from LAN. Basically,
Yeah,
teams that like to hold angles a little bit more, I feel like are gonna get a huge boost when it comes to LAN, right? Whereas all these people right now are abusing the online mechanics of like Peeker's advantage. And that kind of shit gets really difficult when you go to LAN and everyone just sees each other at the same time.
but none of us know how the game plays on land yet, so it's
That's
like
true. Could be very different.
it could be different, it could be the same. We just don't know, and I think it's kind of scary for a lot of teams. I agree though. I think like T1, even though they're struggling a lot, I think that if there's a LAN team, that would be it right there. Like those guys, and I guess 100 Thieves with their rebuild, like that, they're going to be a strong LAN team too. But I don't know how good people are going to be because I don't think anyone just knows how the game plays on like 0 ping.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say too, like some of these PUBG and Apex players may have never like been to LAN either, because I know a lot of their stuff is on like online regardless. So I think the CS guys will have a leg up, like no matter what, even if the gameplay is like really different.
Yeah, there's definitely some unproven talent out there LAN wise that like for example, I want to see the Immortals roster on LAN because those guys are all like, you know, I'm not gonna say they're virtually unknowns, but like they're players that weren't really pro in very many other games or any at all, and they're really good. So I want to see if they can handle the pressure on LAN. It would be good to know.
Yeah, a lot
Well,
of people too that haven't been to LAN always like fuck up and like don't remember a specific setting, and just everything
Yeah.
feels different on LAN, and they just suck at their first LAN. There's definitely a learning curve. It's not You're not doing the same shit that you're doing at home. Everything feels different. You're out of your flow. Like I definitely heavily favor the CS teams that have traveled to a lot of LANs.
hang on, wasn't there like I think this is your Cloud9, Sean, with Freakazoid. I think there was a thing like one time when like you guys were practicing in I think like a old Faces office or something, and like Freakazoid like changed his res or something and didn't realize it like broke all of his lineups or something like that. Does that ring a bell? Like
I don't remember, but I do remember that. Do you remember like the PGL major after I left C9 and Shroudy like didn't have his graphics card
Yeah, his
drivers or some
NVIDIA
shit, like
Oh
something
my
settings.
God.
Yeah.
absurd like that. Like there's just like so many little things that even like the most experienced people on computers can mess up when they go to LAN. Like there's a lot of little things that can go wrong.
There's also just pressure. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll give you an example. My second CS:GO LAN. I don't remember if you were on the team with him at the time. It was Simphus was on the team, and it was the Sivo LAN that was in like that warehouse.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my second CS:GO LAN, and the whole time leading up to that LAN, Corey was talking so much trash to me online, so much trash. And I'm just, I'm talking a little bit back, but I'm not talking that much because I'm still new to the pro scene. So I'm timid. And so first match, we're about to go live. Corey gets a chair, brings it, I'm not kidding, right here. And he sits down and he just leans forward and he's like on my shoulder watching me play. And I look, I'm like, what are you doing, man? And he's like, I'm just watching. I'm like, okay. And from that point on, I was so nervous. I was like, this is insane. What
Dude,
is this guy doing?
this was long hair, gorgeous James.
Yeah, this is long hair.
Dude, I'm talking James had hair that got to the bottom of that TSM logo back in the day, man. We filmed that. Remember, we filmed the commercial.
Oh
like
yeah,
the-
the Pantene Pro V commercial.
Yeah, we filmed it. I don't know what it's lost forever though. It's somewhere.
Oh my god, dude, I was so drunk for that. I was gone.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
we're in the weeds. I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
brought us back here.
No, dude, it's all good. I just started remembering like some of those old tournaments where like Trace was still your manager and stuff like that, and you guys were in London. But yeah, we'll go away from those stories for now. It's time to move things forward to our Ask Us Anything segment. So you guys in the chat, please ask questions, and you can have directed questions to a specific person here on the show. So if you've got a question for Hayes, Mike, Sean, or myself, just throw them in the chat, and we'll go through them. Uh, it's actually really cool to see like so much diversity from different games in I've got to say in Valorant. And quickly, just going to make this point whilst we're waiting for some of these questions. Actually, you know what? I don't even have to do that, Phil, because we actually have everyone being prepared. So this is awesome. Right.
Ooh, I like Bree's question.
Yeah, go for
Yeah.
it.
Why don't teams scout for undiscovered talent in the same way traditional sports hunt down the young, talented athletes? Why just look at the existing pool of players?
Mm. I mean, I personally I talent scout all the time. There are a lot of I did it in CS too. I always like watching players that I think are like maybe undiscovered and like I feel like if I find a diamond in the rough, it makes me feel good for some reason. I don't know why. Like even if they don't play with me, if they just make it pro and they're like really good, I feel rewarded for some reason. But I'm just like, I knew that guy was going to be good. I knew it.
Because you want to see talent and hard work rewarded. That's
Yeah,
why. Yeah.
sure.
Because you yourself believe that you're also a hardworking, talented person. So you need to see others like you.
Yeah,
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 make
that's
it. Yeah.
it.
That's
All right,
what you
I'll
hope
be
in
the
the box.
pessimist here. I'll be the
Okay.
pessimist. So the reason why, and you can get away with like a couple of these on a team, but you cannot build a team around all undiscovered talent. There's just too much shit to teach them, and you can't have. If 4 people do something wrong in a round, you don't even know what to complain about as the in-game leader. Like you can only complain about so many things before people are just like, this guy just is fucking crazy. Let's just all do whatever we want. Like this guy, let's cut this guy. This guy isn't on the same page as us. But really, it's just fucking a bunch of people playing like lunatics, not coordinating at all with each other. So you need like 1 or 2 of them, right? Like Sinatra works really well in Sentinels because he has, Shazam and Sick playing a little bit more comfortable, like passive. Zom's playing passive. But if you have like 4 Sinatras on a team, it would be utter insanity. I actually guarantee that he just would get run over across the map because he's too aggressive.
I don't have the smoke, then fucking buy it.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, Jules. Why are you gonna do me like that? Just literally.
Yes, dude.
I'm done.
That was so funny.
I think the other thing too, like in esports compared to traditional sports, if you talk like even just basketball, you have high school and then there's like different camps you can go to and stuff to get noticed, and then there's like college and other divisions, and then pro and semi-pro. There's like so many different divisions, whereas in this game right now, there's kind of like pros, semi-pros, but there's like no like organized ladder to any of it. It's just kind of like, yeah, you might run into some people like if you're 10 manning or scrimming some people, but it's just like way less organized to try to find talent.
It is incredibly hard. I agree.
Yeah. Dan MI asks, do you guys believe Asu will ever make the transition into pro scene? He's clearly a top jet main in the NA scene. I don't know what Asu's up to. Obviously, he's insane, but
I think he should play pro. I mean,
I think so too. I think he's fucking young and he's insanely skilled, and I don't know why he wouldn't play pro.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, he
Why
has.
would I guess his stream.
Yeah, his stream is
His stream is
massive.
fucking insane.
mm-hmm.
But and he definitely could make more money as a streamer than a pro player. I guess it really depends on like where your priorities are. Like if you're ultra competitive and
When we first like went into Valorant, I was just thinking to myself, like, Ace is like he is just suited so well to this game because it's like it's a CS player that actually understands how to like think with abilities and use abilities and has insane mechanics. And if you look at, I don't know if anyone's ever watched him in Apex and has seen what he can do in Apex, but he's just like, I feel like the epitome of exactly what you want going into your lineup for this. Like a super experienced like guy that knows CS at a high enough level that also can think with abilities.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's kind of surprising, but as you say, like he's maybe he's it's like with Shroud before, right? Shroud was like streaming and trying to make it pro, and then stream just gets really successful, and then I guess he grew more of a taste for that.
Yeah, I think he should play pro, but it's a matter of, is this competitive drive there? I just don't know.
yeah, it's like one of those things where you can't really dip your feet in the water, right? Like when you play on a pro team, otherwise you're not gonna enjoy it. You're gonna literally get bounced out of the pro scene really quick. Your teammates are gonna get fed up with that shit. So like he has to fully commit if he wants to play pro. But he could if he wanted to, and he could probably be a top player.
I like this question too. Let's see. Actually, did I just lose it? Oh no, my
Oh, I
chat's been
like this one.
scrolling. Okay,
Hayes,
you go, Sean.
do you suck up your balls during
I
clutches?
read that.
My God,
I don't even know what that
Nice.
means.
Dylan, grow the fuck up.
And a hazed
Uh,
on the end. So this is one of your people, actually. This is literally one of your people.
It's my mod, yes. No, they don't. They are very relaxed, and they're trying to clutch with me.
You're nice and deep, hanging low.
Yep, absolutely. Well, okay, I'm not that old yet. All right, come on.
All right. More serious question. What do you think? Well, Triv asks, what are your thoughts on maps with more verticality, such as train, you can overpass?
Well, we just need more maps in general. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Well, you're not satisfied with 4 in a best of 5.
Yeah, in a best of 5 kick ban.
The 4 map best of 5.
So maps with more verticality.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to it, but it would also just make Jet stronger than she already is.
Yeah, I don't really like the
too.
verticality of Split.
I think my thing with the maps right now is just like verticality is basically like a gimmick on Split. And I don't know why every map needs to have its own gimmick. Just combine some of these things on different maps. Like if you want to have doors and ropes and ladders and where, just combine them on different maps and stuff. It's like, okay, you can shut the doors on this map. Like it just seems really weird that it's just like one gimmick per map.
Yeah, it feels like quite limiting, isn't it? Yeah.
I would like a couple maps that have more like open ceilings, I guess. Because like for example on Haven, you can't really throw utility from C to A and A to C, for example. Because it's just like blocked by this giant like tower in the middle. And then on Split, there's stuff blocking all over the map. So I'd like some more like open spaces so you can throw utility across the map. I think that'd be cool for like throwing fakes or like defending bomb sites from the other side.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, that I never really thought of. Like, if they open the ceilings on Split, you could have the potential of like throwing like a brim molly from like outside A to like in mid to take mid control. But you can't do that. You have to literally be fucking peeking mid to do that.
Yeah, it's really annoying, and I think it lowers the skill ceiling a little bit because like we can't be as creative planning for matches. Because like on Bind, for example, you know, I have a molly as Brimstone from B site that lands on default today, the normal plant spot, and then vice versa. I have one from A that goes to B, but that's only because the ceiling's open. But you can't do that on these other maps. Like it's just not an option.
Just let me play it in peace, man. I already have enough to worry about with Killjoy. Why you gotta learn these mollies, dude?
But yeah, I think maybe not like the verticality of the maps of new maps needs to be like a thing, but I think just having more like open ceilings should be a thing. Personally.
Gotcha. Well, there's another interesting question, I think, specifically because you might be more suited to it to maybe answer this, Hazed. Gulzap asks, basically, you know, what does T1 need to change? Like, what's the sticking points for T1 right now? Why aren't they a better team? What could they do to improve?
Okay, so I'm excited to hear what y'all think about this personally, but what I think is that the roster is filled with too many passive players. I don't think they have enough aggression in their roster, and the players that I feel like should be aggressive. For example, I think Crashies is someone who should be aggressive. Is playing Cypher, or at least he was. And to me, that is, I don't know if that was his choice or that was a team choice, but for whatever reason, I feel like that's just not a good idea. I feel like they need more aggression on that team. They're so passive in a game, in the current meta of aggression. And so they're getting taken advantage of a lot. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel as well. The second that they made Brax Cypher, I was like, okay, this is like a step in the right direction, but I also think like Brax could have more impact on another agent. So like I don't know. Like I feel like he could be like the best Cypher in the game, but I don't know. I also don't know if they have like the right in-game leading voices on the team. I'm not sure. Like I really don't know. Like they look so lackluster in late round scenarios, like 2-on-1s and 2-on-2s. They make wrong decisions, which is weird. Watching CS players make really poor decisions in those scenarios. But that could just be like a lack of like a leading voice.
Yeah, and like it's a roster of people that would be really good as like that second kind of voice to your leader that are kind of helping the IGL like out mid round stuff like that. But there isn't like a distinct like I'm gonna take charge type of guy that can kind of take you through anything.
Oh, I have a question for you actually. So I was watching Shazam stream after you guys beat them in the finals, and he said that they suffer from not having a coach, and that he speculates that your guys' coach, is it Taylor?
Tailored.
Tailored, yeah. Tailored was likely in the stream, like able to like send adaptations to you guys live in the match because they can't be in the server right now. The coaches aren't in the server, right? Yeah, so they're not in the server, so they're probably watching the stream, which means they're like several minutes delayed. But still, they could still like have a good idea of like what the other team is doing and like kind of communicate how to adapt on the fly and stuff like that. Is that what's happening, or like what's his impact for you guys?
Oh no, like I'm not even gonna sit here and act like he's not gonna do that. Like he will.
Yeah.
Like going that it'd be silly for him not to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why would you not do that?
Yeah. So until like coaching rules come in, of course we're going to use this. And obviously it doesn't help us in the current round, but
Like,
I think for a team like Sentinels, honestly, dude, they gamble a lot. They gamble stack, gamble push.
yeah.
So he actually doesn't even really help us in that scenario because there's nothing to read. They're just doing stuff with no information a lot of the rounds. Like they're just guessing. So he can't actually help us a lot of the time we're playing against specifically Sentinels. But he sits there and he'll watch and he'll be like, okay, this is weird what they're doing. Maybe we can counter it in this way. And if a team doesn't have a coach, that's not our problem. That's their problem.
Yeah, that's what I like. Why do they not have a coach? That's what I was wondering. Like when I was listening to him say that, I was like, they should definitely have a coach at this point.
Who knows?
Because
some players don't like coaches because they have egos. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
Does Tailored provide a lot to your guys' structure, or like do you work a lot with Tailored as far as like creating strats, like you Sabroso Tailored? Does Cutler play a lot in strats?
Yeah. So he's a vital member of the team for sure. He basically creates all our comps. I mean, obviously we all bring ideas, but ultimately he's the final say. And then strategically, the same thing. He brings like little tactics that we should try. Like, so for example, like if an A push on a certain map isn't working well for us on CT side, he tries to identify why it's not working and what we could maybe change ability wise or timing wise to make it better. So yeah, he like an overarching strategy, not really. He doesn't really bring executes, for example. I think that's something that us as in-game leaders bring. But yeah, he's really trying to like fine tune the things we do, not necessarily like tell us what to do as a whole.
Gotcha. That's interesting.
Yeah, I do wonder like what the future looks like in terms of the support staff for this game, just because like if it does go to that drafting level, you're gonna need a lot of help. I think like managing just how to handle. I mean, again, we don't even know how many like what the maps situation is going to be because I know that they did state that they don't want to really have many maps, but obviously it feels like as you pointed out rightly, if we're going to have best of fives, and that's like there's a world where actually right like in our future for this game, we're never going to do a best of five, so we already have one more map than we need. Unless that's like the future, presumably another map's going to come in and so many agents. So I feel like you definitely will need the help. So yeah, it's interesting to think about. And given how much investment's going into some of the teams, also interesting to think about like where the priorities are being put and what even makes a good Valorant coach too. Like it feels like such a like CS:GO in of itself seemed like it is a really complicated game to understand all of the fundamentals and really be able to spot problems and then there's so many additional things bonuses to what value that person can add to a team. So for Valorant, I don't even know where to begin with that. Like who do you find for stuff like that? I think that's part of the problem. Like finding someone that legitimately seems like they would be a good long-term pick as an individual for a coach, because that's got to be something you're thinking about too. Someone you're going to stick with for a while. But with that said, someone asked me a direct question very quickly, which I will answer, which is basically just, do you think the game will take off even if the prize balls aren't quite as big? And I think I just like respond to like, will the game take off? I think Riot are trying to create a very an indomitable force in terms of tactical FPS, and they're trying to capture the Asian market as well as the Western market. And I think they're probably going to do a pretty good job of it. I think the game's going to be huge, but it's going to be a very different ecosystem than Counter Strike's. And with Riot supporting it, with a game where presumably investing into this game, if you're a sponsor, you don't have to worry about the same things as Counter Strike. You don't have that kind of like MMA type problem that Counter Strike has, where someone who wants to sponsor your tournament is not thinking, oh well, do I want like all blood and to be associated with this and so on and so forth. Valorant's a lot more cartoony, so I feel like the game has the possibility to dwarf Counter Strike financially in that sense in the future if it keeps growing.
I mean, I'm sure James isn't going to like this either, what I'm going to say, but I like the approach to having smaller prize pool tournaments the way League of Legends has. Like, League of Legends has a massive viewership and following, but we still have, like, probably more prize money total in CS, and obviously, like, Dota has the TI and stuff like that. I don't think the prize money really matters. Like, I would rather see the players paid really well and have that sponsorship money go towards like running an insane tournament. Because clearly, like, the players care about winning. Like, if they don't win, they're gonna lose their jobs and blah blah blah. Like, the prize money is just like one of those things where like, oh my god, like everyone gets like hype about the prize money, but I don't think it really matters too much. Like I would rather there be smaller prize money and better production than like $1 million tournament with shitty production with bad audio problems and this and that.
I can totally understand that point of view, and I think I would probably agree with it. I do like the idea of there being one big tournament in a year. Like the prize pool is obviously like much higher than normal. Maybe it doesn't have to be like TI level,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. I think it is good to have like that one big defining tournament in a year, because that it defines the year itself. Like what team was number one, the team that won that tournament. But I think having a bunch of smaller tournaments is fine. Yeah, I think it's good for the scene having a bunch of smaller tournaments, because it's a lot of exposure. It gets people into the scene, a lot of production into the scene. If your prize pools are super high, it's hard for smaller tournament organizers to break in. There's going to be less exposure because of that. So yeah, I think having a bunch of small tournaments is good. It helps our salary go up for sure. Just because more tournaments, so like I'm not going to complain at all.
I mean,
I'm
that's
okay
insane.
either route.
Worlds, do you know how much first place got at Worlds last year?
Mm-mm.
834K. That's not a lot of money considering that's like
Yeah.
like one of the only
Yeah.
tournaments the entire year in the biggest game in the world.
Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy.
that's actually insane. That
Yeah.
means like the majority of their money is coming from salary. Like, these guys are probably getting salary like $1 million a piece a year.
Well, I think that truly works in a system that's franchised, right? Like
Yeah.
because they're in a franchise league, they can get away with doing those lower prize pools because
Yeah.
the salaries can be pushed up, because there's also like team, Riot helps with team revenue and like the in-game stuff that they can buy skins, etc. So yeah, I think franchise league makes that possible, and I personally hope that they do that going forward with this game with Valorant.
Yeah. That'd be dope.
I mean, ultimately, like, makes a lot more sense if you think about like where the money's going and what the impact is. Like the only impact of like enormous prize pools in gaming typically is to be like to give you exposure and to hit headlines. Like ultimately, I feel like that's one of the biggest values that it's brought. Like the international, for example, is just like the amount. Like that was the first, I think, thing that came to mind for me that hit like mainstream headlines very consistently because of how mind blowing it is to the average person. Like going back many years, the first thing I can remember like that is maybe the Painkiller World Tour, if anyone like with MTV, if anyone remembers that. But
That's back in the day, dude.
yeah, man, like 2003 or something,
Yeah.
2004. But with that said, let's wrap this up with one more question. Do any of you guys see anything in the chat you like?
I saw someone earlier ask about Viper. I'm trying to remember the question.
I think I was
what
trying to.
makes Viper difficult to fit into a team comp? Oh my god, dude! Do I want to go on this rant?
Okay,
Let's
we're
do
ready.
it. Let's do it.
Do it.
Buckle in, everyone.
Okay, so I personally believe Viper is borderline S tier. Okay, borderline. Okay, this is a hot take. I know a lot of people disagree
Yes.
with this. I think she's high A tier. So why isn't she played in competitive? One, you have to first you got to go on a server and learn a lot of lineups. Okay, people don't like doing that because you just play Brimstone or Omen, right? You just click on a map and you're like, okay, there's the smoke. So she's harder to play. Okay, that I will give you that, but the benefits far outweigh the cons, and that as an in-game leader, if you play Viper, you can solo execute a bomb site multiple times in a round. Okay, so I personally have figured out these executes on Split, Bind, and Haven. So what you can do is I'll use Split A for example because it's something I've actually done in tournament, so people have seen it. But I can wall Heaven, A ramp, and I can smoke Spawn and L. I can molly under Heaven and top Heaven. Okay, that is a solo execute with one character. So I can throw these executes by myself. We can either hit with all five. I can fake with it. We can double fake. I could triple fake. Basically, no one knows what the hell we're doing with Viper. Okay, and that, in my opinion, is what makes her one of the most broken characters in the game, especially for high level play, because you can mind game an entire team by yourself. But the reason she's hard to include and fit into these teams is that a lot of players, especially that we're seeing like in these make deep runs in tournaments, are super aggressive. They're hyper aggressive players. You need a team that's like T1 that has players that are super experienced. They understand strategy on like a high level, and that they're going to play off of your fakes, off of your utility. Because Viper's strength is not just rushing into stuff. That's not where she's good. She's good at mind gaming. So you need a team that understands how to mind game properly and use that to their advantage. And so I feel like slotting her into teams right now in the current meta, which is very aggressive, is hard to do because players just don't understand how to use her utility. Not only at the player itself, like the Viper, but their teammates don't understand how to use her utility right. And that's
I couldn't agree more. I actually think a lot of the times the Viper itself like is way too aggressive. Like you got to think it's not like Brimstone or Omen where you can die and your smoke is still there. Like you die and all your shit's gone. Like
that's it.
there's no more. There's no more wall. There's no more smoke. Like it's gone. So like you cannot die as Viper, otherwise everything just goes to shit. Like and the scene just isn't slow enough right now. Like the fundamentals aren't there. But I agree. I think she's like literally S tier. I think once a team incorporates her, whichever team manages to figure it out first is going to be the team that wins the next tournament. Yeah, it's probably going to be you because you've been playing her.
I'm telling you, I'm going to make Viper. It's going to be a thing.
Dude, I don't even know if it's possible, but so say on Ascent, you could probably take the wall and go like mid on defense at the start and cut a wall through like short A, like by like the grass area that goes through the A main corridor. So that way your wall blocks short and A main at the same time. So like your opper's holding grass. If he gets smoked off or he shoots the shot, you put the wall up. And then that basically blocks like all of A. You can put the wall back down. You can take another shot. It's just like, holy shit, dude. There's just so many possibilities, man. And no one camps in a Viper smoke, right? No one's going to camp a Viper smoke. So if I'm Omen, I'm telling into those smokes like all the time if I have a Viper on my team. That also opens up that. You can obviously flash out of them if you're Phoenix because no one expects it's that. Like there's so many things that people just don't expect yet with Viper.
And you control the smoke timing.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like take into account. So like I'll throw down when I'm playing like pubs or like ranked, I'll throw down a Viper smoke, and then I'll put it up and I'll put it down instantly because I know people are going to be moving on it. So
yeah, they think it's going to be up.
Dude, just in the open, and I'm like, "Yep, you're dead." All right. And I do the same thing, and I do it over and over and over. You can just the character is meant for mind games. It is such a good character, and it has 2 mollies. Like,
yeah,
what?
dude.
Dude,
What?
it's so broken. She's actually OP right now. I heard they're gonna buffer again. I hope that's not true.
Dude, that is
I
absurd.
hope that's not true.
That's absurd.
I think
I
her
mean-
ult definitely needs a nerf, like again, because they made it way too long that you can stand outside of it. But
Her ult's a free one if you get the bomb down.
yeah,
Are you that Viper that's like throwing one ways every freeze time, or are you the Viper that? Okay, good.
So,
Every Viper that I ever play with is just like in freeze time, just like throwing their little one ways, just like clink, clink,
Check out
clink,
my
clink,
one way,
clink, and then
man.
it just hits the ground. I'm just like, you motherfucker! Like you don't even know what you're doing right now.
here's the issue with the one ways. They're nice, sure, but what I think is more valuable is actually not using the one way and using the smoke regularly in the choke point, because when they run through it, especially if you're a Phantom user, if they run through it, they take enough damage that your Phantom one-shot headshots.
Ooh,
Finally,
So
someone
it's-
gets it.
To me, it's more valuable for them to take the damage than to have the one way.
that's
That's what
nice. I know that. Is the Viper smoke? Is it like translucent? Like, can people see out of it at all, or no? I've never like fucked around with it too much.
No.
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 Yeah.
It's much like a brimstone smoke. It's very like thick inside.
We need Hazed on every week when we talk about Viper because he gets it. He gets
I like it.
100%.
Yeah, he gets it for sure.
Dude, I
lose
think
it.
at the first episode of this show, we did this guide on Viper, and we're like, she's S tier. And this is like we're so many buffs later, and we're all just
Yeah.
like,
We're
why
still
haven't
doing the
people
same
figured
thing.
it out yet? Like, and just like if you just you combine it with a Sova who knows what he's doing with the recon darts, there's obviously like a lot of stuff you can do with that. If you somehow you want to save your toxic screen and you're playing like like the retakes are so strong with the toxic screen, there is just a lot. And like you said, all you said about the mollies is that there's two of them, and that's enough. Like the area of effect of that, like the amount of positions you can deny with it in retakes and stuff is just insane. And I don't think I've seen a single Viper. Well, I was just playing normally, who knows any retake lineups.
Which
So,
is a tragedy. Like, what
Yeah.
are they doing? That's your whole character is like, that's where you're strong.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
All right. Well,
I have a lot of hard feelings about that character.
yeah. Well, I feel like we're going to see some changes for sure. But I think it's time to move on to our final segment. We've got some clips. Mike, what do we have in the bank? In the clip bank?
This one's from Sean, so since he's had a week
Ooh,
off from
wait.
casting, he can narrate it a bit. It's not
I
a
actually
bad
don't
one,
even know
I
what
promise.
this is.
I think you get a 1v3 clutch here on Haven. I don't remember all of it though.
I don't even remember.
Oh, yes.
Oh, this is where I was just like, I'm fucking leaving you. I'm leaving you.
Omenal's busted.
Oh, stop! What the fuck? It's just
This
7 orbs. It's
So
7 orbs. How are you gonna say it's busted?
I show.
How are you
I
gonna
play
do me
Omen.
like this?
I play Omen. Don't worry.
You're gonna
I'm
scam
ripping
me like
myself by
this?
saying that. Oh my god, you're mind gaming so hard.
I'm just out playing these nerds.
You do all this and then you switch to Jet as soon as you get Radiant, so it's a shame.
Yeah. This man.
That was
Yes.
clean. Look at him. Look at him lean back as soon as he gets. He's like, "Yeah, I'm the shit."
Oh. When the telly hits just right.
Amazing. Wait, is this looping?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
can
looping. Get it
flip
off, get
over
it off.
again. He doesn't want to watch his glory anymore. And then the last one we have isn't really a community one, but I can't remember what tournament this was, but it's on Mixwell's stream, and it comes down to a Cypher 1v1. I thought this was like the most nerdiest like 1v1 I've ever seen in my life. So they tag each other with the cams. He's gonna cage. Drops a trip right in front of him to slow him and show him on the map.
No way.
Cypher 1v1s, dude.
That is
Oh my.
epic.
Cypher
Dude.
1v1s are absurd.
I love seeing the same agents like play each other in one-on-ones when they have full
Yeah.
kits. Dude, who was playing with me that one time where we were watching like Phoenix? Was that you when we were watching Phoenix versus Phoenix and they both like popped their ults?
Oh my god, yeah.
They-
Yeah.
It was amazing. Both Phoenixes like had full kits, like
Combined,
walls,
right? And showers.
mollies, flashes, ults, and it was fucking insane. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen. I got so excited.
It was so. It's like it was outside showers, like outside the TP on that corner, and then the other Phoenix was around like the short corner, and like it's so insane because both of them played exactly the same timings with exactly the same utility. They both like delay 3 seconds, flash out, and they both run out and then blind each other. No one gets anything. They go back around the corner. They both wait the exact same amount of time, flash out, both blinded, back around the corner again. Both do walls at the same angles
Yeah, it
at the
was
same time.
fucking ridiculous. Like he's not even lying. He's not lying. It was the most insane thing ever. I lost focus for the entire game after I saw it. I was just, I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. I was like, this has to be recorded. Did we
Beautiful.
record that? Did
I
anyone
don't know,
record that?
man. That was just a moment that you and
Oh
I get to
God.
share, and that's it.
Swear that actually happened. I wasn't.
You
fucking
have
sick.
that, and then now you have Killjoy 1v1s where you both pop ult. Yeah, that's fun.
That's fun. That's fun.
Make a Venn diagram.
Everyone.
So stupid.
Dude, you know what I did yesterday, James? I was playing Killjoy after I hit Radiant. Yeah, I hit Radiant, guys.
Ooh.
I popped my ult in a one-on-one, and I threw a molly on my ult. So, and then I left it. So if they pushed it, I would just pop the molly in the corner, and I'd kill.
That is so weird. Oh my god.
It was so fucking cheese, man. There's so much cheese shit you could do as Killjoy.
I don't like Radiant Sean. I like Immortal 3 Sean better.
Just breaking the game. Right? Just no shame.
All right, guys. Right. So that about does it for today's show. Man, Hayes, thanks so much for joining us. Do you have any plugs or anything you want to say? Do you stream? Like, give us the deets.
Yeah, I mean,
Mountain Dew
well,
game people behind you. You want to shout out to that?
that's
Anything you want to
currently
shout out
what I'm
for?
drinking, actually.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy their zeros, the 0 calories. It's really good. But yeah, we all stream. Some of us not so much as others, but yeah, hit up all our socials, the whole teams. Go through TSM to find them. I'm sure you can find them there. Our sponsors, thank you so much, guys. TSM's been great for us, man. I didn't have a great experience leaving CSGO with orgs, and I was skeptical coming back into the pro scene, but they've been really good to us. So really happy that we chose them, honestly.
Awesome. That's so good to hear.
I'm glad you put people in their place, by the way, after that tournament, bro. People don't know. People don't know how good James's aim is. You just need to like load up the stream and go to like Aim Lab or something just to fucking show these kids.
I don't know, dude. I actually had this really sick session the other day in the practice range where I was doing no crosshair on stream. And I
Yeah.
did the hard training with bots.
Yeah.
And I got 24, so I felt good about that.
Ooh,
Fuck, that's insane.
that's actually insane.
I remember I would watch you on like aim bots and I'd be like, holy fuck, your aim is so
back in the
good.
day?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
You
when I
would
was
just
on
like you would just plow through those bots, dude. Yeah, you
Yeah,
should
I'm
load
trying,
you should
dude.
load up some like aim lab or like Kovacs or something. Make people respect that aim.
If they pay me, I will.
All right, Sean, what are you doing later today? You gonna be streaming? Where can people? What are you up to?
It's a fam day. It's a
Fam day. When you back though?
Monday probably.
Monday. Gotcha.
Monday, yeah. I'll watch
Nice.
some tourney games or something this weekend. They got that EU tourney going on, right? You been watching that, James?
Yeah, GC Liquid coming up.
Is that today? Is
I
that-
I think
think
that
so.
Allied tournament that's been going on. Allied,
we usually
whatever.
don't watch them live. We usually watch VOD, so I never know when the tournaments are going on.
Gotcha.
But there's a
Awesome.
tournament Sunday. Tomorrow.
Oh, which one is that?
Shoot, is it Knights? I think it's the Knights Invitational
Yeah,
or
that
something. It's a
sounds
one-day
right.
tournament.
Yeah.
How many teams? Those are like all the good teams?
I think some of them dropped down. I don't think all of them did, though. I think there's...
Are you and Sentinels in it?
I think Sentinels dropped, but I don't know.
Pussies.
Honestly, I would have to go look. But I don't-
Just kidding.
And Mike, what are you gonna be up to? Are you gonna be bashing your head against
Oh
rated
yeah,
or?
I played with Maui Snake last night, Mem Ramley, in a game, and we were just talking about the random shit in these ranked games. It's just unreal. So I'll try to play like 10 ranked games in a day and try not to get severe brain damage.
Good luck with that. Right. Thank you so much, everyone, who watched the show today. We had some really good numbers, as best numbers we've had so far. And if you want to support the show, we got our sub button last week, so you can sub. And also, if you are interested in joining the community, then we have a pop-in Discord community, exclamation Discord in the chat to give you a link. And Mike actually set up this really cool system so that if you're looking for some like-minded individuals to play some ranked matches with, so that you maybe are less likely to get that brain damage Mike's talking about, and you can go in with a more consistent experience. We have a way that you can basically set your rank and your roles and your region and all the rest of it. And then you can basically just ping people when you want to play, and you can kind of get a squad going to help help improve your experience. So go check that out in the Discord. We have a tip button now as well on the panel as well below the live stream. So you can check that out if that interests you. And we'll be back on Wednesday with our typical VOD analysis stuff. So make sure to put that in your calendar. We go live at 7:30 Pacific time. And with that said, I think that's everything. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks again, Hazed, for being our guest. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.